Hi there, I'm Amanda Cromhoth from Truth. Welcome to the Blind Loyalty Challenge. We interview world experts in loyalty blindly. We're hoping to create insight, spontaneity, and a lot of fun through the challenge. The challenge is about promoting the blind loyalty trust, and my book called Blind Loyalty, 101 Loyalty Concepts Radically Simplified. All profits from the book go towards the trust. We hope you enjoy the Blind Loyalty Challenge. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to a Blind Loyalty Challenge. And today I chat to Andrew Swaffield. Now, Andrew, I don't think needs any introduction to the greater world of loyalty, but I'm going to give a short introduction. But before I do, Andrew's current positioning is very much around executive coaching and leadership development. But I know Andrew, I actually prefer to call Andrew Swaff, and we've known each other for many years. We worked together in British Airways, which was a real highlight of my career. And then Andrew went on to head up Avios and Virgin Red and other roles within the Virgin enterprise. So there's no shortage of loyalty nuggets sitting inside Swaff on the other side of the screen. So Andrew, welcome to the Blind Loyalty Challenge.
Thanks, Amanda. Great to be here.
Yeah, so you were tagged by Matt Oldham, who's a mutual friend and also well known in the industry. So you can blame him. So so here we go. So first question, chapter 22 of Blind Loyalty is around coalition. So this is obviously super easy for you because you've headed up two gargantuan coalition programs, global programs. But what would you say was the hardest thing to get a program like Virgin Red off the ground?
Without a doubt, the hardest thing is getting cooperation from different organizations, and particularly organizations that are being asked to, do something for the first time or in loyalty, or indeed change something that they've been doing for many years. So, I always, without hesitation, say, actually getting organizations, CEOs, boards and C-suites to take on board new loyalty solutions is definitely the hardest part of this work.
Yeah, definitely. That change management process is like top down, certainly doesn't go bottom up. So yeah, I hear you. Okay, great. So I'm keeping on the theme of coalition, but obviously you've got decades of airline experience in you. So what would you say is more profitable, coalition or FFP?
Well, FFP is definitely more profitable in a purely financial sense. I mean, the margins are generated by the combination of those distressed seats on the aircraft that the airline can get access to, and the abundance of financial services partners, really. So those two ingredients create the profitability of frequent flyer programs. And you only have to look at some of the big monsters like, the US programs, where they've got, say, 100 million members and, in many cases, bringing in 10 or 15 billion dollars a year in credit card revenue into their FFP. So that's the reason why there's so much profit in FFP. However, I think that the coalition aspect creates sustainability for FFPs. So, if you simply milk the cow of, credit card and airline for decades, eventually it's going to stop yielding. And creating coalition partners gives customers a way of integrating it into their lives and makes the thing much more sustainable. But it's much lower margin work, and therefore it's tempting not to do that if you're in an airline.
Yeah, absolutely. Great way of explaining it. So anyone out there who's struggling in FFP and just wanting to get that longer term reach and stickiness, don't be afraid of a coalition relationship. Yeah, fabulous. So the last question is super easy, but it's more personal. So what would you say has been your favorite ever loyalty experience?
From a business point of view, in terms of what I've done, or as a customer? As
a customer.
Oh, goodness. I was really worrying you were going to ask me something like that. And I was thinking, I've got to try and plan this in advance. My own, so I'm not a loyalty junkie myself, which is, I suppose, a bit heretical, to say that, having built two loyalty programs.
Gargantuan programs.
Yeah. But what I love is when I'm surprised by the fact that somebody recognizes me and
Yeah.
makes my life just a little bit easier. I just love that. It's like the organization has actually thought to itself, this customer is going to be moving across these pillars of our corporate organization, and I'm just going to make it a tiny bit easier for them. So, you deal with an organization that makes that so slick that you don't even notice it.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I just love that, and I know what goes on in the background to make it happen. So, when you, for example, with Amazon, if I go onto my television and I switch on Amazon Prime, and it knows who I am and it's ready with my password, it's like they've thought
Just
about this. They've really thought about it, and it just makes life a little bit easier. And I guess in many ways that's what I've been trying to do, by joining up British Airways and Iberia and Aer Lingus and so on, joining up Virgin companies, trying to make it easier for customers. Um, when it happens to me, I think, oh, somebody's making my life just a little bit easier. And of course, if it's rewarding as well, and you get something, then that feels, that feels extra special. But I love that sort of frictionless move within a
mm.
within a big organization. I think it's super, rewarding. It makes you feel as if they've actually recognized you.
I love what you say from a couple of reasons, but particularly because it might seem so utterly tiny on the surface, and yet it gives you such a sense of satisfaction or ease and trust in the brand and so on. But actually, what I love more about what you said is how hard it is behind the scenes to deliver that tiny little nugget of simplicity.
Yeah,
It's utterly very difficult. And
yeah, yeah,
every loyalty brand around the world is struggling with it. And yet those who can get it right are probably making a bigger impact than burying their time in double points campaigns and
yeah,
percentage increases and so on. So I love that.
exactly. Do the hard work in the background so the customer doesn't have to do it. And
Yeah.
it's often thankless work as well. You get very little, reward for it, as an employee. But if you can track the effect that it's having on your customers, it's much bigger, I think, than people realize.
Yeah. Brilliant. Love that. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so the one you were worrying about, you came through with flying colours.
Yeah.
They're the three questions. Who would you like me to interview next on the Blind Loyalty Challenge?
Well, I think it's appropriate that my successor at Virgin Red, who you and I both know from Avios as well, should
Yeah,
pick up the baton, and that is Andrea Burchett, who's now the CEO of Virgin Red.
stunning. Well, yeah, I do know Andrea, so I'd absolutely love to chat to Andrea. So thank you for the tag, and I'll chat to Andrea. Thanks, Andrew. Thank you, Swaff. More familiar terminology between us, but thank you for doing the Blind Loyalty Challenge.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's lovely to see you, Amanda. Thank you.
Always. Thank you.